these are the causes. Of course, if you see the causes, you simply know. Actually, the others, the alcoholism, you see the alcohol is part of that. Genes which play about 2 to 10% of roles are there. And I'm insisting on 2 to 10% roles. We don't inherit genes that actually cause diseases. We inherit diets that activate genes that cause us diseases. Diets, environment, culture, and all that. These things are what we call the epigenetics. They are the factors that actually activate genes that cause diseases. So if you're still thinking you will inherit diabetes from your mother just because she was diabetic, or your father because he was hypertensive, you are lying to yourself. You will be actually the light. You'll be the light of that family. You'll do all the causes of diabetes and hypertension in that bloodline, because you have the information. Now change your life, and then through you they will see the light. Now you can change their lives. Okay, so one, age is part of it, of course, but age is just coming in because age brings the symptoms and the side effects later on. Number two, the genetics, 2 to 10%. Number three, obesity. Talking of obesity, I've seen this content creator who dances with the tummy and is now advertising betting companies and this tourism and travel. I put him on my Telegram channel today. This guy says he takes 7,000 shillings of meals every day. 7,000 shillings. He's proud that he eats 7,000 shillings every day. And he knows very well, he even admits it, that if he loses that pot belly, his job is gone. He'll go back to them, to the ghettos. So he will do everything to maintain that pot belly. So he is dancing on the streets, on the highways. He's dancing on TikTok, doing all those challenges. Nowadays, even aggravated, he's doing it even naked. And I'm looking at him, I'm counting the stomachs. Do you know, ladies and gentlemen, do you know a cow, or they call them ruminants, right? They have 4 stomachs. We have the rumen, the reticulum, the omasum, and the abomasum. These are 4 stomachs in a cow. Those of you who did agriculture understand it better. This a cow has 4 stomachs, and nowadays human beings are competing with cows. Even the most hungriest cows cannot eat 7,000 in one sitting. A cow eats 24 hours, but you cannot do that. And you see this gentleman dancing, and you can simply count the number of stomachs. We call them tires. The number of stomachs this guy has. And very soon, Kenyans will unite kutoa michango in a WhatsApp group that this gentleman is suffering. The betting companies are using him. The food industry is using him to advertise their foods, and they are feeding him for free, and he gets the thrill out of that. Whatever he doesn't know is there's another lady who was eating all over, and now I think she's a media presenter in a radio station. She used to eat everything, and we look at her videos and we are wondering what is happening. You can see from the skin she has very severe acne, and then she has to mask that with makeup because she started by making videos applying makeup. So you look at her, if you have a third eye, you see this one is suffering from hormonal imbalances. Now that one disappeared in the scenes because she went into radio. Now we have this other gentleman who is dancing with 4 stomachs. Take your time, and as you're here, just observe. Don't have any opinion, simply look, observe, and just relax. You will see what I'm talking about very soon, and we will talk about it here again. And then we'll say, oh, you're a hater. Oh, you know what? You're actually celebrating people suffering. I am not celebrating people suffering. That's why I whip people before they get to suffer. We whip them before they get to suffer. A man with man boobs, a man with 4 stomachs. I mean, where is the discipline? Is it always about the paycheck? Don't you even understand that health is your first wealth? Let's go back. So, age above 65 years, we've talked about genetics, 2 to 10% role. We've talked about obesity. Diabetes is there, of course, and hypertension. These are the risk factors. We get the brain injuries. These are the traumas. And people who are actually participating in these physical activities like rugby, like boxing, specifically boxing, and kickboxing, normal boxing, and which other one? MMA. These are people who end up getting problems because when you're knocked on the head, memory loss, instant memory loss, Parkinson's is there, problems. And then, of course, depression and increased stress. Stress is very detrimental to your health. Yes, Muhammad Ali. He suffered this fate. Parkinson's now. After all the billions you've made in boxing, now you cannot sustain yourself. Now you cannot even think, you cannot remember things, you cannot walk right. So what was the essence of you doing boxing? I thought a sport is supposed to actually build you. It's a hobby that's supposed to earn you money. But you go into a sport where somebody's busy knocking your head as though you're a snake. I thought snakes are the ones we hit the head to just kill. Now somebody's hitting your head to just kill you. And of course, we are paying to sit there to see you enjoying it, to see you taking the blows, because the thrill that is coming out of it. You're a superstar, right? We are clapping for you as you're knocked down. You go into lack of sensation for 2 hours and you come back zero. You can't remember anything. So what was the need for you to actually be involved in such sports? Choose a sport or a hobby that will earn you money, but it's enjoyable and it's fun, and it's actually going to make you healthy. Football is a problem. Football is actually part of they call it Roman circus, just to distract the masses. Imagine you watching people play something that they are paid for and you're paid nothing. Look at that. Look at that. How can you celebrate somebody and you own that team? Oh, team yangu, team yangu. Team yako? I thought the revenue is supposed to come to you if it's your team. And you even support a team that is named after the Devils. Manchester people will come after me. Anyway, let's continue. So yeah, they have a way to distract us, and they know very well when the masses start to wake up, it becomes a problem. So what do? They bring football, they bring all these debates, they bring this presidential stuff, they bring this the umbrella agenda, so that you get distracted from the real ideas and the real agenda. That's how they do it. They have to distract you in a way. So yes, football has played a bigger part of that. So let's go into the management of this, because that's where the importance is. But simply, when you know the causes, you easily know the management. You know the management. Would you wait for us to just give you drugs, prescribe drugs for you that will actually mess up your system even further? You know the management. Because of course, under treatment, when you already have this dementia, when you're getting older, you have dementia, and you need medication first before you even fix your kitchen. You need medication. So what are the medications? There's one called memantidine. I don't want to mention these medications here because they don't make sense to the general public. We can actually talk about, because donepezil, rivastigmine, memantine, there's another one called Memorex for the memories. I don't want to mention all these drugs. Let me just go straight into dietary and non-pharmacological management, because that doesn't make sense. There are things that you can actually do when you're here already. One, behavioral therapy, occupation therapy. You can do cognitive therapies. These are the therapies that you can do when you're there already. But for you to prevent being there, 101% diets, 101% fasting, exercise is part of that. Cold showers to boost your immune system and to boost blood flow towards the brain. You know very well. That's what we do here. The sun is very perfect here because of vitamin D that actually fixes problems in your system. Immunity. Remember that. Always remember lower cortisol levels, because stress and depression are actually part of the causes of this. So how do you lower stress levels? Start praying. Get an identity. Okay, forgive your mother, forgive your father. The same pillars of healthcare. Number one being the diet. Number two being rehydration. Anytime you're rehydrating, make sure salt and water is part of it. Number three being, of course, which has to be number one, the prayer and the belief in a supernatural being, which is I call God. Okay. Number four, of course, fasting is very key. Prolonged fasts, because we want to clear those proteins called the Lewy bodies, called the amyloid proteins from the system. And when you're fasting, you get to the autophagy stage, you start clearing these proteins. And then remember, we said something called BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor. Brain-derived neurotropic factor is a protein that you produce when you're fasting. This is a super protein that rejuvenates your nerves, rejuvenates your brain cells, and helps you to heal from inflammation. And simply understand that lack of memory is actually frying the brain and causing inflammation to the system, just like the seizures. The only difference is the part that they affect. So once you understand that, it becomes easier for you. So therefore, you'll never lack on the diets. You'll never lack on the fastings, both the OMAD and the prolonged fasts. Therefore, your grandfather or your father who is actually losing memory has to fast. Take your father on 2 meals a day. Very important. Okay? Make sure it's a zero carbohydrate diet, because already the inflammation is super high. If you do HbA1c, you will see his percentage of glucose that is attached to red blood cells is already super high. That's why he got inflammation. That's how we ended up getting the number 2 type of dementia, which is the vascular dementia. So we want to clean up the cells. We want to clean up the blood vessels. We want to clear the inflammation in the system. And clearing inflammation, fasting has to be there. Clean keto diets has to be there. If you're doing a complex carbohydrate, stick to the complex carbohydrate, but minimize them and make them just the evening meal. Don't eat complex carbohydrates all through. Simply do 2 meals a day. And just look and see how he improves or how she improves. And then engage them in these speech therapies, these behavioral therapies, the cognitive therapies. Let them do something. Give them, even if it's a keyboard, let them type something, let them write something. They don't have to remember it. They just have to write. Read a book. If you're suffering from these problems, and most youth are actually suffering from dementia, they only think that this is not dementia because dementia is for the elderly. That's the mindset that we have. If you know what we are talking about, you simply understand that I have to do something. If I'm losing memory right now, possibly I'm having chances that my blood vessels that supply the brain are starting to get clogged because I'm eating too much sugar, I'm eating too much seed oils, I'm eating too much wheat. So I drop these inflammatory foods to the system, and then my body starts to heal, and the repair happens naturally. When I fast, I even make it super because I produce ketone bodies that are the best energy sources for the system. That are anti-inflammatory, so they heal inflammation, and the brain starts coming back. And then now we put in the CPD, the consistency, the patience, and the discipline. That one is bare minimum. Discipline, consistency, discipline, and patience. But the problem is, most of us want to lose weight by climbing on a weighing scale. Just because you fasted today, tomorrow you're climbing a weighing scale looking at if you've lost 1 kg. That is nonsense. That's why patience comes in. So you feed your father healthy foods this week, and then he loses weight, and tomorrow you're complaining. My father has lost too much weight, but the memory is still a problem. I'm like, but you're just done a month or so. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Your father is 70 or 80. He has done these things for 7 decades in a row. You are 30. You've done it for 3 decades in a row. What makes you think that you just snap and everything works for you? That's how we ended up getting into medication and surgeries. Quick fix. Because we don't want to take the longer route. So we think, just because I fasted today, instantly I need results. Why am I not having results? And now as you come in, I do just the basics. I take a blood pressure, it's in the roof. Why? Because you're already worrying about what is happening to you.